Opposed? None. Motion carries. I think as of right now, that's all the action you need from us, right?
Yes.
If anything changes at any of your meetings with the Secretary of State, feel free to reach out to us or Carrie, and we'll make sure to address it to keep things moving smoothly, as smoothly as possible.
I appreciate the board's support.
Yeah. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Lindsay, would you like a copy of this?
All right, last thing on our agenda is the fire station roof bids that we opened 2 weeks ago. We'd asked that everybody look through them. Carrie did look through to make sure the scope of work was correct on all of them, and they were. I'm happy with my number one pick is the 603 roofing bid. They did some work for us at the library, did really good. And they came in with a cheaper price and a better warranty. So I don't know how the rest of the board feels about these, but that's my pick. I will, if nobody else has anything, I'll make a motion.
Motion to go with 603.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Carrie, can you just send a letter to you usually do everybody and let them know one way or the other. So go ahead and send one to everybody and let Amy know so she can start getting insurance information. That's it in the folder. I'm going to make a motion that the town purchase through the grant money for the COVID 8 tablets of up to $600 apiece.
I will second that.
And again, for the record, this is money that's not going to cost the town. It's not money that the town is going to have to pay for. And this isn't for the town employees to use on a daily basis or whatnot. This is for all the boards and committees that the town has to be able to hold meetings if and when it comes to a point where things have to be done through Zoom or other of those types of platforms. And they will end up becoming necessary at some point. So that's my motion. I will, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
No. Was that 3 noes? Okay. That failed again. I don't think I had anything else.
I have 2 things.
Okay.
One is, we had pretty good news about our town beach in the lake. The company that we have, I'm not sure the number that he uses, we could get that, but this company tests several lakes and ponds within the state of New Hampshire. And the ones that he tested, there were only 2 that had perfect scores for the water, and Forest Lake was one of them. So that was pretty good news. Second thing is, and I have a question for school board chairman, Lindsay. I believe Friday you're meeting, correct?
Yes.
And hopefully we'll have some idea on beginning of school.
Yes, the reopening committee or the reopening team has a draft ready to go, and the school board will be reviewing and discussing, and we are definitely under the request to have a decision so that the reopening committee can make final plans for schedule.
All right. The reason I brought that up is we all know different schools are doing different things. And some schools are going to start out with remote learning. And by choice, a lot of us live in a rural community. The downside of that is that we don't have internet service throughout this town. And not only the main thing, the children would suffer from this, from the ones that have to do the remote learning. Carrie had a house sale, she couldn't sell it because the person
Because
works
there
from
was
home
Yep,
and didn't
I
have
know.
it. So, that being said, the governor said set aside $50 million for broadband. And Carrie and I spoke about it, just trying to let the board know in the school that she's going to be reaching out to Southwestern. And we're going to see what we can do to try to expand this so every child that's going to be doing some remote learning from now, or if we have a snow day, they can do it.
In any ways.
And try to get it so they all have it. So we're going to be working on that. Carrie's going to be reaching out to Southwestern, and we'll certainly keep you in the loop on it.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. I know that is certainly a concern. Most of the schools I've reviewed, Monadnock, Keene, Jeffrey Ringe just came out with theirs. The majority of the schools in our area are promoting some kind of hybrid return to school with remote learning and online learning as a vital component to that. And, you know, we're certainly not the only town that has some more rural areas that don't have internet, but it is extremely encouraging to hear that we're going to take, or you as a town, are going to take a more active role in trying to secure some additional broadband for our population, because that's certainly a concern that we have heard from the students and parents. Thank you.
Keeping in mind on that, though, the governor did sign that at the end of last month, but it does not go into effect until sometime in September. I don't know the exact date. I haven't had a chance to look over the exact bill.
And that's
But-
what Carrie is going to reach out
Right,
now.
and it's also, you know, it's not something just because it takes effect September, we're going to have internet in September.
And we all
So-
realize that.
Right, so that's something that, you know, it's
But
going
if
to
we
take a
can
year
get
or
his
two.
name on the top of the list,
2 years.
that's
Yeah.
what we're trying to do.
Right,
Takes 2 years.
yeah, at least,
Yeah.
yeah.
2 years.
The other thing, just for clarification, it was put on there just for, so whoever looks at the website would see that, but, Carrie, could you remove the two libraries from underneath the departments and put them in different categories so there wouldn't be any confusion going forward as far as the library not being or being a department under town instruction, which they are not. Thank you.
Can't do that.
James, have we had any update on final? I know we discussed it, we voted on it, but the doors out to the highway.
Yeah, they're already.
Did they come in and, okay. We just said, I haven't heard, so. All right, great. And they talk about Asheville Fire Station and some of the contents of their, from New Jersey. Was a high bidder, he was awarded the truck 3 years ago, and it is still sitting in the fire station.
He paid for the truck.
Paid for
He
it.
came up and did some work to it, got it running,
Yeah.
and it's still sitting there. And now we won't return phone calls so that we can even reimburse him his money or get the truck out of there.
Yeah, we've sent certified letters. Channy's worked very hard on it. Carrie's worked very hard on it.
I know I just asked the fire chief about it the other day, and he said he's called the fire company that the guy works for, and every time he calls, the guy's not in. So, but he's told that the guy's not in, so we're guessing he still works there. But he's not returning any phone calls even there.
Well, we need to get this finalized because one or two things need to happen. You need to come get it, or we need legal advice on how to go forward on.
Which we already got, which was.
Yeah,
Pay the
but I
guy and be
don't,
done.
but that legal advice was basically contacting him.
Right, and pay him back his money.
Right. Well, is there a next step? If he's not returning any of our calls, any of our certified letters, what's our next? We can't keep storing this forever. That's a building that we're crowded over here with some of the stuff, especially seasonal stuff that could go down there on off seasons. So, we need to finalize something, what's our next step? If phone calls, letters, certified letters are not being returned, there must be a time frame.
Yeah,
If we charge them $125 a day for inside storage, well, guess what? We own it again. So, what's that? Is there a way to call the state to see if he's deceased? He isn't. The fire chief, Barry, has contacted the fire department that he works for.
yeah, and they all know him, and every time Barry's called them, they say, no, he's not in today.
That's what I got when I called. I called down on Craig where I called her, but they said
Right. I would think if he was deceased, one of them would be like, sorry, but he's no longer with us or something. Not just, oh, he's not in today.
What's that?
unless they're not allowed to say, oh yeah, passed away or something. It'd be worth looking into.
Yeah.
I think that's all I had. Oh, did Dennis leave?
Dennis left.
Okay.
James, you had something?
Well, the landfill, we got a response back from them, and one of the questions was whether or not Dan and Bonnie could either not allow people to get rid of their recyclables if they didn't have a dump sticker. So I guess we need to give them permission to do that, or sell them a dump sticker.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
which
mean,
guess they have that,
they
but he didn't know.
They should be, they're the enforcement out there.
Yeah.
So
But I guess
if they need our
Peter-
permission to, fully enforce,
Peter asked if they had that authority.
right,
To either send somebody out of there with their rubbish if they don't have a sticker.
yeah. Yeah, otherwise it's pointless to even have the stickers.
That was already discussed.
It was, but,
When we had them in
yeah,
a year and a half ago,
a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
the owner of the company, we said, we need A, B, and C done out to our dump because we need more enforcement. We need, they took over the selling of the stickers so they could keep track of that. A big thing, I know your father said to me several times, rubbish blowing around, and they did pretty good for the first 6 months, but it's gone back to
Old
being
habits.
lackadaisical again. What's that?
Old habits.
Yes, old habits. But yes, they have all the authority to do
Yeah.
that already.
Yeah, so Carrie, if you can just email them back and say that, yes, they have full authority to fully uphold the rules of a dump sticker. Do you have something else,
I had that
James?
response, well, I had that response, and there was they outlined some things that they were going to start to take care of and change, but I don't know, I guess I lost that page. But anyways, they're supposed to start to keep it cleaned up a little more than what they have been, and start
Yeah.
checking
No,
better
good.
for dump stickers,
Good, and hopefully this time it's
and I
better
think
than
he
mine.
said he would leave an additional, did he say he would leave an additional cardboard dumpster, or?
Yeah, he said he would bring in another dumpster if
Yeah.
necessary. And the other thing was too, the glass
Glass.
was not cleaned properly, or it was
Well, yeah,
contaminated.
Yeah, so I think what happened is plastic, tin, cardboard got into the glass. Then when he brought it to Keene, they would refuse it, so he took the glass dumpster out of there.
Well, here
It's
you go.
his employee's
they're
job
supposed
to
to be-
monitor
yeah,
that.
so
Right, it's their job to monitor, and they're under contract to have that there.
Yeah, it's contracted to have it.
Email.
Well, I
We
mean,
can't-
right, we went through, what's their company?
And our EE
Right.
something,
But that's supposed to be there, and they're supposed to enforce it.
I think the problem was that it was costing too much money for the glass, that's why they stopped.
That's not our problem.
that's why we had to go to that's why we ended up having to go to a different company, because Monadnock Disposal doesn't handle our glass anymore. We had to go through this other company.
At the end of the day, Chan, they signed a contract that they were very happy with, and they said that they were gonna do this for the town of Winchester and the town of Richmond. And if they don't do it, well, then they need to come on, be called out on the carpet for it. It's what, $266,000 a year to run that dump?
Yeah. Yeah, so let them know that glass container needs to be back there, if it's not already.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Let them know that if the glass container's not back there already, it needs to be. And if it's contaminated, then they need to speak with their employees.
Right. He's basically taken a third of the plastic in the tin goes in 2/3 of one of the large, units, and the other third has been, we put a piece of plywood in there to separate the glass. So there is a place to put glass, but not, in the capacity there was.
Right.
Well, and that's the
And I don't know how
problem.
that helps it from getting contaminated. If somebody's gonna throw something in there to contaminate the glass, I don't know what difference it makes if it's a full container or a third.
Right. Right. All right.
That's all I had.
Anybody else from the board have anything? All right, this time I'll open it to the floor. Anybody from the public?
John Rydell, Broadbrook Road. I had several questions. One of them was related to recently there was discussion about taxpayers who were behind and that. This isn't about the revenue side, it's more about, was it looked into that if any of those properties were eligible to be put into current use to help those people out?
I would assume that if they were eligible for current use, they would already have it. They would.
It's quite a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
It could be intimidating to people especially people who are older.
Yep.
Also, properties that are smaller than 10 acres can be grouped together so that the whole conglomeration can be put into current use. And the people might not have thought of that. Was there any proactive?
I haven't.
We don't monitor properties to see which ones are eligible for current use or not.
But when we have these people who are delinquent on their taxes, don't we also try to help them? Is there a mechanism for that?
We try to help them.
How?
Setting up payment arrangements with them to work with them.
All right, and that's great, but could it also be part of the process to see if they're eligible for current use? That's up to the property owner, that isn't up to us.
I mean,
If we could help them out by helping them with the process, it's not.
I mean,
an easy process.
if somebody came to us that was eligible, we can mention to them that it's available, that it's an option. But I can't think of anybody that's come before us that would fall under that category.
Well, the unobvious thing about it is that smaller properties could be grouped together, so.
All owned by the same person. Smaller properties owned by the same person.
I thought it was different owners who.
No.
Yeah, you have me confused.
No, the same person. If one person owns 10 one-acre lots that are all right next to each other without buildings on them, then they could become eligible.
They could do a boundary line adjustment.
Right.
All right. Could there be, when you mail the bill and you know it's delinquent, could there be mailed along with that some kind of, maybe one sheet of, do you know if you're eligible for current use or something along those lines?
I mean, it's not impossible, it's just more work for Carrie.
That's not gonna help with anything that's owed, though. That's
Well, are
still-
you talking to?
It's gonna help people who owe money.
Well, that would help.
Money in the.
That would help them in the future. It wouldn't do anything for their past tax bills.
Yeah, right. You're
Well,
talking,
then which was also part of my question, there is no mechanism or procedure to retroactively put something into current.
No, that's all governed. That's
By
all.
law, you can't.
That's all governed by law. I mean, that's all
I
from
understand
the
that.
date that it's signed forward is when it becomes is when it's active. We can't prorate it back to.
Okay, I understand that, I just thought I would ask the question.
Yep.
All right, so that covers what I wanted to ask about that. My other question was about the hiring of the police officer. Has there been progress on that?
There's,
Yes.
they're still actively doing the interviews, yes.
All right, and I am not really familiar. If, say, an applicant had not been a good police officer in a department out of state, would the process find that out?
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's very thorough.
Yeah, the
very
process
thorough
does,
background checks.
yeah, the process includes full, complete background checks and reference checks and criminal and financial background checks, everything. I mean,
All right. And my other question in regards to that, we're not putting a lowball offer out for their salary? Is it the lowest range of a salary you would give a police officer, or is it more in mid-range?
well, it's our normal starting pay for our officers here. I mean,
Depends
we're
on their
lower,
qualifications, too.
Is
we're
that for the
lower
state?
than other towns, but we're higher than some. So
Well, that's...
right now we're at the, right
all
now
right,
we're,
so I should like look for that information on my own?
I don't know what the starting pay is right off the top of my head for the police
Depending
department.
on experience. and-
Yeah, it depends on their experience and qualifications. If they're
As
right out of
most
the
jobs do,
academy,
but
They just-
are
Just
our
we near
department.
the bottom of the range, or are we solidly in the middle of the range?
For
I'd say
for pay,
we're closer to the middle.
right?
All right, I will accept that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just a couple of questions. John, thank you so much for asking that question, because I too had a question about the police and the salary and if that was a concern, so thank you. I'm wondering where we are in COVID spending, because I had asked 6 weeks ago that if you weren't going to, if you weren't going to go with some of the recommendations of your town employees for laptops, that you put together some kind of list for what you would do with that money. And we were advised that we could hear kind of regularly where we were in that grant spending. So I'm wondering, how much have we spent? Has the select board talked about any other proactive ways that they can protect this community with that grant money? Or do you plan on leaving $100,000 on the table for the town of Winchester to not take advantage of?
Well, as you very well know, I've been actively trying to buy the computers.
Very well know that.
As far as the current spending, I'm not sure. Amy keeps track of that?
Ricky does.
Ricky.
I can give you a ballpark about first, because it's done tiered. So
Right.
Each month, we have to submit X amount. So the first issue that we sent in was 1,700 and change. The second one that we just submitted about 3 weeks ago was about 3,800.
Okay. And the total was, I'm getting the school and the town
102.
confused. 102. So out of $102,000, we've submitted for approximately 5,000?
Roughly.
Okay. So it sounds like the select board could come up with some additional opportunities to protect the citizens and the employees of the town, and come up with a list of maybe something else that you would spend the money on, or, and how long do we have those funds available?
For right now, I believe it's the end of September, but I think they're going to review it, and it could go further.
So I'm very concerned for the town that if you have not taken advantage of any of those funds, or enough of those funds, that either you might be deemed that you don't need them, which sounds really silly for our town, or you might not receive any further funds. Also seems really unfortunate. I also had a question about the Ashwillet Fire Station. You voted on the roof, correct?
Yep.
And is that, was it 24,000?
26.
26. Is that 26,000 coming out of the 30,000 that you encumbered and moved from the 2018-19?
No, there's 26,000 left out of the 30.
26,000 left of that 30.
The roof bid was 13.
13,000.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yes.
But that money's coming from the money that's already been encumbered and moved over several budgets.
Right.
What is the intent for the use of that building once the roof is done?
We're still actively trying to figure out a way to do the renovation to it, to have it ambulance station. Like I've stated a few times, every quote we got was well over $100,000 to put in everything upstairs that needs to be put in,
Yeah.
that we just don't have, and we haven't been ready to ask the taxpayers for that extra $100,000. We did ask the grant writer to look for some grants that might be available for that, but that's been unsuccessful.
Yeah, I wouldn't anticipate that there's probably a lot of grants available for those types of work. Just being familiar with what kind of grants are usually out there for school or municipality. My final comment was with regard to the truck that's hanging out that the person doesn't want to pick up. I think Carrie mentioned that you've sought legal counsel and they said send them a check. So I would recommend that you send them a check with a letter that says, here's your money, and then do what you're going to do with the truck, whether you put it back out to bid.
Which I did. I sent them the money, certified, and I've gotten nothing back. Not even the sign certified, saying they received it.
Right, we need at least that signed
I looked at the
certified saying he
account about
received
3 weeks
it.
ago, it has not been cashed.
When did the certified go out?
I'm sorry, what?
When did the certified get sent?
I'd have to look at it. It's a couple of months.
I feel like that's kind of on the post office as well. You should get something back. Either it says refused 3
Right.
times or it's signed.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
That's frustrating.
yep.
My final recommendation would be, not that you want to spend any more money on it, but there are certainly vendors out there that do, well-person surveillance checks. If you're really looking for them and you can't find him, you could contract with that company to hunt him down, hand him that check, and be done with it.
Yeah.
It sounds like you could sell that truck and be rid of it if he would just take his money, which
Right.
sounds silly. I would cash it.
My response to the COVID thing, Lindsay, is there's 76,000 residents in Cheshire County, 8 active cases. It doesn't seem really responsible to just make up a list of things to piss money away on.
I am absolutely not going to get into a debate about the COVID-19
You're
or
shaking
whether
your
or
head
not
at me?
it would,
Yeah, okay.
or whether or not it will be here. That's your prerogative.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that your prerogative is not to consider the residents who have asked you to keep them safe, whether or not you believe in it.
Come up
All
to the
right.
microphone, I didn't hear you.
Go ahead. Okay. Okay.
The only comment I would like to make in additional support to you for, getting some computers or something to help us out. Mr. Marsh, you had mentioned today that, you're looking to expand internet access for our children, and then hear that it's going to take 2 years to do it. Like, it's not something you can turn right on. Same thing right now with virtually anything that you are buying, unless you are going to a physical store and picking up a physical copy, you're going to be waiting for it.
I'm sorry, I can't hear it. I don't have electricity right now, so I can't charge my hearing aid, so I can't hear a word you're saying.
Sorry about that. No, I'm just pointing out that, you really wanted to have internet access for our kids. And then you hear, well, it's going to take 2 years to get it. Even if a law gets signed and it gets approved in September, it doesn't just turn on like that. The same
we
thing is
understand that.
the same thing is happening now with anything that you want to buy. I have gate latches that have been on back order for 2 months, and I'm not expecting them for another 2 months. It's just a gate latch. Think about a computer. You're going to be waiting. The longer you put off getting the technology that we need to be able to work this site remotely, we're not going to have that. We're not going to have it because you keep pushing it off.
Well, I just to get to the broadband, that was just brought to our attention recently. So it is, yes, it could be 2 years, it could be 3 years, but we're trying to get our name on the top of the list. And if we don't start somewhere, we're going to be on the bottom. So I can't. Yeah, I'm sorry, couldn't hear your response.
All I said was, it's not just about what the select board wants, it's about what the town wants and needs. They have spoken multiple times and asked for this.
Yeah.
All I said.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Amanda Lund, 5 Purcell Road in Ashmillet. I had a question. If we do this remote learning and possibly this hybrid thing, my daughter's experienced through that whole thing.
I don't want to cut you short, Amanda, but that's the remote learning and everything, that's a school conversation.
I know. Well, she's off to the high school anyway, but my whole thing is she didn't get a report card. She got what they learned in school for that 4 months.
Yeah.
Then my other thing was the 4 months that the buses were being used, why the kids weren't on the buses. Why couldn't those 4 months be appropriated to the 4 months starting the school if the Keene High was to go to school? Then my other thought is, because the buses were voted down, and Westmoreland actually charges parents to bus their kids. How come we're not given that option?
Yeah, like I said, those
Friday night, the school
are
board-
school board questions.
At 6:30? 6:30, Friday night up to school.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
they're usually
not
Thursday.
questions
They're usually Thursday
that's not
night.
questions we can answer. We don't deal with what goes on at the school. I mean, that's why we have, they're a complete separate entity.
I get that, but
I have as much
vote
control at the
that's
school as I
placed in
do as
town.
the meat prices at Coolix. And there's nothing, you gotta go to the school board for it.
Okay.
All right, sorry.
I'll be short, I promise. I'm tired. I just had a question to follow up on about taxes. So the last meeting, did you have a meeting recently where you called in people to that have backhoe taxes? Anybody? Not just Ben?
Well, it's non-public, but
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, so,
2 weeks ago at our meeting, we did have some non-publics, residents
okay. How many of those residents showed up for a payment plan?
that were scheduled to come in,
All of them?
everybody that's scheduled to come in.
And how many was that?
How many what?
How many residents was that?
That came in last week, or 2 weeks ago?
Well, it doesn't have to be that. I mean, out of all the people that owe taxes past 3 years, okay, where the town itself is allowed to now put a lien on these people's property,
Correct.
how many,
Even if they're in a payment arrangement, there's still a lien put on the property.
right,
That doesn't get them out of a lien.
right. So how many that there is a payment arrangement set up for are actually paying that payment arrangement? And the ones that aren't, why isn't the town taking steps to now,
Everybody that's on the payment arrangement is paying. Anybody that has missed payments or is falling behind on their payments are the ones that come in, like last 2 weeks ago, when we had, I think, 3 people come see us.
okay, because that's not what I've seen, actually. I have a list, that's not what I've seen. Thank you.
Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mike Coop. Good evening, board members. Mr. Chairman, the question I have for you on the appointments, was it your and the board's contention that the appointments are being made under 674-46A, paragraph 5?
My motion was for the appointment, the way Jim Tatro wrote it up and handed it to me.
Okay. You have the authority under that to, since the RSA does provide for HTC members to sit on the Heritage Commission. The question was that the premise that you were going to go under?
Yeah, I was under the understanding that these were gonna be, that you're now gonna sit on both committees.
Right, which leads me to the next question. Since Selectman Marsh is the ex officio to the HTC, would you hold a quick vote to appoint someone as the ex officio to the Heritage Commission?
The chair for the Heritage?
No,
Selectman's
he can't be a
representative.
chair as an
Oh,
ex
to
officio.
be the selectman rep?
Selectman rep. Yes.
Oh. Yeah, I'll make a motion to make Jack Marsh the selectman rep to the Heritage Commission. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries.
Thank you. His experience is...
No, thank you. I
his
would have...
experience is welcome.
I looked right over that completely.
The next question I have for you, and I realize it was voted down, but seriously, consider what the use is going to be for on any laptop or computer purchase, because if you are going with Chromebooks, not all Chromebooks are capable of running Office 365. You'd have to use the web version of it, which is notoriously slow.
Right. Well, that's why originally, a month and a half ago, I made a motion for Chromebooks. But now I've since, because of that and a few other things of information, I've just been making a motion for a tablet of some sort.
Well, the Linux-based, and
up to
unfortunately,
$600.
You'd have to run it, if it could run it, it would have to run under an abstraction layer, which is going to really slow it down.
Right. Right.
Just you know,
Right.
for your consumption.
Would there be a recommendation you would have as to what we...
I'm sorry?
Would there be a recommendation that you would have that would be a better purchase?
I could provide you with a list.
Yeah, if you could. Yeah.
I'd be happy to supply Kerry with that.
Yeah. Yeah, you know a lot more about it than I do.
And just a thought, you know.
I turn mine on,
sometimes when you're dealing
check
with
my
grant
mail.
money, all money is important, but when you're dealing with grant money, you have to be a little more prudent with it, because you might end up with something that, you know, is a white elephant.
Right. Yeah.
The other question I had for you was the payment to Lawrence. That should be the second half, is it not?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That's all I have, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Rick, come on up.
Good evening, Rick Molesky, Town of Winchester Water and Sewer Superintendent. Just a little updates. The Richmond Road, end of Richmond Road water main project is just about complete. Just some paving of the aprons and everything. And just a reminder for everyone in town, Hollick Water is going to be delivering pipe next week, and markouts will start out on Richmond Road. So everyone in that area prepare themselves. The construction is going to start August 17th. It'll start from Lawrence Street going to Pump Road, so expect delays and construction delays from your travels in that area. So I just wanted everyone to be aware of that. And I, again, just to clarify with Mike, asked the question, that was a second payment to Lawrence, and the contract has been filled and is completed. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll take this chance for the board. You've done an excellent job out there in good time, so
Yeah.
you guys work hard, did a great job.
Absolutely, and yes, and I'd like to thank Lawrence for their workmanship, and the job was way ahead of schedule. My plan was to be done before Hollick Water started their project, and again, as you know, we're way ahead of that schedule, so we just had a few aprons to pave, and I'm just waiting for the paver to show up, and he tells me it's going to be Wednesday next week, so we'll be doing that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Lawrence did a great job, and our water department did a great job.
Absolutely.
You and your guys all did a great
We never
job.
penetrated the road at all. All the directional drilling went well, so we stayed.
Yeah, I know.
within this.
Carrie said she went out the day you were drilling because she wanted to see how it worked and how it operated, and she got there and everything was done.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was gonna bring a few other people in to take a look the second day, but we did 6 of them the first day. I did not do the last one because of it would have cost us the amount of cost for them to come back just one directional drill. And we did find the service, and it was copper, and it looked like it was a newer service, late 80s, so we determined that we made a decision on site to go with that service as it was.
Yep.
So if we have to replace it in the future, we'll either pull it across or directional drill it.
Yep.
So,
Nope.
other than that,
Great
it
work.
was
Thank
a good
you.
success, and thank the board and the
Yeah.
public for the support.
Yep. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Jim, you got something? You're all set? Okay.
From the public? All right, at this time I'll entertain a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A32, little A, C, and E.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, Jack Marsh. James Rokes.
Aye.
Herb Stevens. Gloria Lustek.
Aye.
Ben Kalansky, aye. We are now in non-public.